What's going on, y'all? My mic had to catch it. But anyway, as y'all can see, the video title right there. Esau, no repercussion for what he do. Esau, no, the so-called white man, there is no repercussion for what he do. Look, I'm confused, people. Y'all help me out. If you record somebody in public, they have no problem with the so-called white man recording them on a camera, right? But when you do it, then it's gonna be an issue. Now, make that make sense to me. If I do it, and I'm compared to me, but the way they'll justify it, they'll say, "Well, you got to understand, that's a business, that's a public place. You just a regular person, so okay, so I'm not shit then, basically. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make it's not adding up. Like there's a rule. Me, little old me, don't own no businesses, and we going into the so-called white man's corporate businesses and places of businesses, right? We going into their businesses and all that type of stuff. But we don't get upset. Our people who are conditioned by the so-called white man is to be a slave. They have no issue with this man, and because they not going to go into their corporate business and tell them, "Hey, I'm coming into Targets to shop. Y'all gonna have to cut these cameras off because I don't want to be recorded." At that point, they're gonna be like, "Well, if you can't abide by the rule, you can't come in here and shop." But guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna go in there and shop. Anyway, say, "Well, okay then." But one of our brothers or our sisters walking around, and let's just say if one of our brothers or sisters are recording each other, we look at each other and attack each other and say it's going to be an issue. Don't record me, which that's normal. Don't record people, and it's not a problem. Okay, you don't want to be recorded. Bam, I won't do it. But I'm gonna challenge that extra long notch. Okay, it's an issue for me, although I'm not a corporate business or nothing like that. It's to record you. But the so-called white man record you whether you want to be recorded or not. That's my whole point. You see what I'm saying? Your slave master gonna record you regardless of whether you want to be recorded or not. But with me, you say, "Well, I can't do nothing about my slave master recording me in these corporate businesses and stuff." But you, who look like me as a so-called black person, I'm going to use it to my advantage and tell master, the so-called white man, the slave master, my slave master, is to put you in check since you're recording me. You see what I'm saying? Think about how that works. You let your slave master do what he wants to you. He can get away with it, right? It's gonna be an issue if I do it though, right? Y'all get where I'm going with this? You see how the so-called white man play these tricks on us, right? Look at how they play these tricks on us. If my brother or my sister, them record me or whatever, then I ain't got no my my. It just feels weird to me. It's nothing wrong with now if they look. Don't get me wrong. All right, I respect my brothers and sisters. If they say don't do this, don't do that, because you love your brother. The Bible says love your neighbors, you love yourself, right? Love your neighbors, your brother, not the so-called white man. I get that. You supposed to do that. That's right. That's the right to do. But the thing is, what I'm trying to wake our people up at is that if wait a minute, something should click in our head. Wait a minute, hold on. I can stop my own brother from recording me, and I can sick the authorities on him, or sick my brothers on him, or my family members on him, and just shut him down. But the so-called white man, I'm not gonna mess with them because going into their businesses and stuff, I'm not gonna be able to tell him he can't record me going into witness when they got cameras in there, they got cameras in the bank, they got this and that and the third. You being recorded every single day, right? You're being recorded every single day. And guess what? The so-called white man, in his mind, he's telling you you're not gonna do nothing about it. But you know what? It's like this. Somebody got on me one time at Walmart a while back. This was uh, I challenged them, and they came up and they said, you're not allowed to record in here. And then I told them this here. First and foremost, we being recorded in here under your cameras every day. But you're gonna tell me I can't. The trick is, if something go down and something happened, you won't have no evidence or proof that this happened, if it happened. So that's why they're telling people not to do it, because they don't want the truth to expose the so-called white man. And that's why they tell you no recording is allowed in here, when you literally got cameras all around here. In there, you got cameras around here. You probably can't see them, but they really got secret cameras recording your ass every day. This is how Esau is. But you're going to look at little old me and say, oh, he's a weirdo. No, I'm not a weirdo or whatever. It's just that you ain't calling the so-called white man that. He the biggest number one pedophile weirdo in the world. But you ain't going to go and say that stuff to him. But you will say it to a little old person like your brother or your sister. When they have, what you call these things? They call them the 5G towers and all that. Hell yeah. When you in your house, they can secretly see all in you, all in our people. You see what I'm saying? But you have an issue with your little brother whom you can, okay, now let me get the slave master on him. Have y'all noticed how that works? You can shut your own brother down, get the so-called white man, and shut your brother, your little old brother down. But when it comes down to shutting the people down in authorities that is actually has that's dominate the world, you don't mess with them. But you can come against the little old me or the little old them or the little old them against your own brother. Think about that. Just let it sink in for a minute without trying to make an excuse for it. Think about it. Just think about that. You can't tell that so-called white man turn them cameras off at that place there, at this place here, at this place there. You can't come here and go over there to that place called Mr. Winn-Dixie right over there. I'm way over here. The Autos Advanced part. They got cameras inside that place. They got cameras in off. Well, you can't really see it because it's dark. Office Depot, which is right where you can see where my hand is pointing at right there. You can't see it because it's dark. You can't go and tell them people it's to take all of that down. You can't go and tell Esau, look, I'm not coming in here. Y'all got to stop recording me. It's going to be an issue. I'm coming in these stores. You're not going to tell that so-called white man. What I'm trying to say is we are still in captivity over here. And our people are slaves to the same people that guns them down. And the same people that enslave you is the same big bad wolf that none of our people are going to be bold and go. A lot of people would be absolutely kind of skeptical and afraid to actually get on a video and speak out. But not me. No. But they want to holler, oh, you racist, hate speech, and this and that and the third. Let me tell you what hate speech is. Hate speech is when you systematically is in control and you dominate and you refuse to give those people that are suffering from in poverty and lack of resources, and you're holding back and refusing to give them the resources or give us the resources that we need so that we can properly function and have education. We need, the resources of educations. Who do you think all them grants and awards and free college ships, although all those colleges is white supremacy, everything you're going to learn the so-called white man's ways. You're learning his ways when you're going into their colleges, they schools and everything, because they ain't gonna everything they're gonna teach you is gonna be based upon a lie. So what you doing? You spending money going to a college for nothing because you learning their ways. And what the Bible said, learn not the way of the heathens. You got to learn their way and their way of thinking just to be able to get this job. And you all taught wrong, and you all brainwashed. You all, um, yeah, you are all brainwashed, right? You are all brainwashed, right? You're white. You're so-called. You have a white supremacist mindset. Now think about it. Everything that we say and everything that we do against each other. Do you know that everything that we do and say, we say you're not allowed to do this, and you're not allowed to do that. You can't come in here recording. The first person that we usually think of is the so-called white man. We think of a white supremacist. We have a white European. That's a European mindset. Oh, dude, you can't record me, or it's gonna be a problem. Meaning that they're gonna go to Esau on you. That's what it means. It means that they're gonna go to Esau on you and get you in trouble. But notice they can't take and go against Esau for saying, look, y'all it's gonna be an issue. Y'all recording me in these grocery stores. They ain't gonna tell them that, but they'll tell little old you don't record me. Which you can kind of understand to a degree. You don't want to violate your brother, but most of our people ain't. It's not gonna think like this. You see what I'm saying? But I want y'all. I want some of the people, my people, is to get in the comments and address that. But I know they're gonna throw. They gonna. I know y'all gonna justify it and try to water down what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They're gonna try to water it down and not make it. They're like, well, that's different. This is in a public store or whatever. Yeah, I don't care where it's at in a public store or whatever. The point is, yes, in a public store, but you can't tell them public store, the so-called white man in his public store, that he ain't gonna record you. That's why you're saying that. You're saying that because you know deep down there that you cannot tell the big bad so-called white man you can't record. No, you see how Daniel and condition that the condition that we are up under, we're damaged and conditioned. We're thinking in that way. In the Bible, it clearly tells you, learn not the way of the but we don't went to learn their ways and learn their work. All of that comes through we done learn the ways of Esau. Oh, you can't record. If you record me, it's gonna be an issue. If you record me, it's gonna be an issue. Yeah, you can go to the same enemy that you can't prevent from recording me in their store. Right? The same enemy you cannot tell your enemy in these stores like this. You ain't. Oh, look, it's gonna be an issue. Y'all recording me in these stores. They gonna like what? They gonna look at you like, well, like I'm sorry, you can't come. Well, then you can't buy by the rules. You can't come up in here. And guess what you gonna do? We gonna fall for that trick. Our people gonna fall for the trick. Okay, then. But just think about all of that. Go back. If you got to go back and listen to this video over and over and over and just think about what I'm saying. You gotta be able to be a deep thinker and think deeper than that. Yeah, you gotta think deeper than that, man. Yeah, you gotta think deeper than that. Think about how you being cheated and played. They play in your mind. This is how they play tricks on our people's mind. You can get me in trouble and you can sue me as a so-called Hispanic, Black, and Native American for recording you and go to Esau and say, hey, these people are recording me. But in the same breath, you can't go to nobody else. You can't say, hey, Esau, the so-called white man, stop recording me. Stop recording me. If you do, it's gonna be an issue. No, they ain't gonna tell the big bad wolf that, the so-called white. No. You see how the so-called white man is playing us and playing tricks on us and just cheating us every day. They cheating us with knowledge. They cheating you. And they know that they are. Yeah, they know that they cheating you. You know what they saying to themselves? You being played. You know how girls say, oh, you know how dudes say, man, that girl played me, man. I got played, man. Well, that's what the so-called white man is doing you. As a so-called black woman, so-called black man, they playing us. And we playing right into them tricks and games that they want us to play into. Yeah. So you sit up there and let them play you like that. Talking about, oh, that's a different, you in the store and this and that. That's different or whatever. You cannot go into a store. It's interesting. You can't tell Esau, don't record me. You can't go in their store and say, Esau, don't record me. But you can tell a little old me, if you record me, I'm going to sick the so-called white man on you. I'm going to sick these people on you. I'm going to have you put down by this enemy, by my slave. You see what I'm saying? But you cannot um but you cannot say, hey, look, don't record me, Esau. Esau gonna look at our people. Okay, you think you better than me? Esau, in so many words, what he gonna make a mockery. Okay, well, you gonna have to get up out of here. And what they really be wanting to say is, okay, you niggers, get y'all niggers up out of here. If you don't want to be recorded, because guess what, so and so niggers, we're gonna record you all. You see how they playing us? You let them play you like that. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. That's exactly what you do. Yeah, the so-called white man, he'll play tricks on you. But Esau can walk around all the time, every day, and they can record you. They, matter of fact, I think they have some. I forgot what you call them thing, but they have some kind of microscope cameras in the sky. If I'm not mistaken, I may not be saying it right. And it's literally, it can record all of your privacy in your house. Guess what? But see, we don't see it like that. But that's what they're doing. We don't understand the biggest plot behind all this stuff. And a lot of our people, see, it's a difference when you wise. Sometimes your age, your knowledge does not equal wisdom a lot of times. Being wise and having an education doesn't always equals the same thing. Just like people will tell you in a minute, well, I'm older than you and I can tell you more. A lot of time, age all the time does not equals wisdom. Age don't equals wisdom, because there's a scripture in the book of Job. I think it's Job 26 and verse uh, 26. No, Job 32 and verse 6 and 7. I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. It is the spirit of the Almighty that giveth understanding. Great men are not always wise, neither do age understand judgment. Meaning that's going into, sometimes your age has nothing to do with wisdom. Age don't understand everything all the time. Age doesn't equal wisdom. You can be an old fool. You can be like, I wouldn't have that mentality in my mind that somebody way younger than me can't teach me nothing, because it's a lie. You got 15, 16-year-old children who are genius. You'll be surprised the information that they can come out with, and probably way more be ahead of me. And I'm 48 years old, and they 2 times double genius than me. So that's why I don't walk around here. I'm older than I know. Age is doesn't equals wisdom all the time. That's not so. That's a lie. You can be the most educated genius in the world, but if you ain't got no wisdom, if being wise, if you're not wise, you still can be led off a cliff, and you still can be tricked. I guess that, yeah, I'm telling the truth. Yeah, you can't. You can have all that. You can be educated and can be one of the dumbest individuals ever. I can be like, I'm 48 right now. There's a lot of ways that I'm still is improving in my understanding. You see what I'm saying? Just because I've been here longer than you, that doesn't mean that you can't teach me something. That doesn't mean that uh that I that I don't have a right is to listen, because we can learn from each other. You got children that can tell you something, and if you listen, you will be saved. Sometimes they can say something and they can save your life. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, look at Christ. Christ was like 12 years old when he was teaching the so-called rabbis in the temple, and they were, some of them was like 80 some years old, probably 70, probably older than that, and he wasn't nothing but a 12-year-old in the temple teaching. So you can't always just let that age flow out there like you got so much wisdom. Age all the time doesn't prove you have a good understanding. It doesn't mean that it's going to, it doesn't justify you, and mean, it doesn't mean a lot all the time that you're going to give me some good advice. See, people look at people who are older, and look at these cameras here. Look up there. See that? They got cameras all around here. You can't go in there and tell them people who only stole a so-called white man and be like, oh, well, you recorded me, you're going to get in trouble. No, you can't do that. Because the so-called white man, in his mind, at any point in time, he'll be like, well, they'll try to make you look stupid. Yeah. So you can't always go by that all the time, because all the time, like I said, that's why the Bible said, don't just judge according to the appearance. Just like you see me with this white hair around my face, you can't get deceived by that and look at that and assume that I can give you all the advice and I'm a genius, because I would be lying. That's why he said, the Bible said, John 7:24, judge not according to the appearance. You can't look at people and judge them from the outside, because I'm still growing just like you. Even though I've been on the planet for 48 years, that don't mean nothing. There's a lot of stuff I still, if I could have applied myself, I can be better off in a better position than what I am right now. I'm just using it as an example. You can't just go by a person's age. People with age doesn't mean they can teach you something. People who are very young in their 20s and 30s is not a sign that they can't teach you nothing. Because a lot of us ain't gotten fooled like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of us done been totally deceived. You can't. Have you ever heard people say looks can deceive you? Looks are deceiving. That ain't no lie. Looks are deceiving. Yeah, looks are deceiving. Yeah, yeah, looks are deceiving. Yeah, looks are deceiving, man. You can't go by that. You see people that are older, that doesn't mean that they can teach you right. You got some older people will can give you some bad advice. Not all older people can lead you in the right direction. Just because they're old, that doesn't mean they can lead you in the right direction. Because you got some of them is just as much destructive as a 25-year-old. Yeah, so you can't get caught up. Don't get deceived by that. You judge people by their actions and what comes out of their mouth, bro. I remember one who I can't remember who it was, but I think it was a lady. I think she said she was younger, and she said she was talking to some of the 60 and the 70-year-old brothers, and when they opened their mouth and went to talking, she was deceived before they opened their mouth, and she said I felt like I was literally sitting around people my age. I felt like I was sitting there listening to 25-year-olds, and you'll be surprised the stuff that was coming out their mouth. You see what I'm saying? The stuff they were saying, it will really blow you away. You sitting there like you talking to 18-year-old and 20-year-olds, and these people was like in their 60s and 70s, and you would have declared goodness. You sitting up there. If you was blind and they were sitting up there talking to you, you wouldn't even know the difference. You wouldn't be able to help but believe that these are people here is my age, or they 25 and 30 talking like, oh, I can be around that. You'll be amazed because see, there are different types of wisdom now. There is some there are good wisdom that can destroy you. It can be bad. It's bad wisdom, but they will perceive it to be very good wisdom. But it's actually wisdom. Not all wisdom is good. Is what I'm trying to say. Not all wisdom are good. You got some wisdom, a lot of wisdom that is good out there, and good advice that can save your life. And you got wisdom out there you can listen to that can get you killed. People continue, and that's why I say you can't go by. You go by the spirit. It's not the age; it's the spirit. Romans 8:16. The spirit bear witness, because age doesn't prove that you can give me good advice or good wisdom. You can somebody put it like this in. You can be an old fool or you can be an educated fool. You can be very educated and dumb at the same time. That's how it works. It can go both ways. You can be very young and wise and not be educated. See, there's a difference in between being educated and there's a difference in between being wise. What does wise mean? Wise means that you are able, you knows how to discern and make good judgment. You know how to give a good judgment, or you can make a distinction like, or something ain't right about that. I don't want to mess with that. That's wise. Being wise can protect you from danger. Being wise can protect you from danger. Um, being smart, your intellect, being educated means you just have a lot of experience on how to build things. You have knowledge on the scope, the telescope. You have knowledge. You're very wise about the air, what where air comes from. You have you're a genius when it comes to talking about what creates mildew in the grass that be wet in the morning time. You're very knowledgeable. You're very sharp. You're a genius at just speaking. You know about airplanes, helicopters. You build helicopters. You know how to make apps like internet apps. You know how to do all that. But that's not the same as being wise, because you can do all of that. Know how to build. You can know how to drive and build trucks, make cars, build trucks, and all of that, and still can be dumb as hell. Yeah. So I want y'all to think about that. You know. Um, so I'm gonna get up out of here, and I want y'all to have a good night. And I'm gonna head up out of here, head home.